Hey, it's his sister Roland. All I need is a few minutes.
So you're probably wondering why I have all of these people on my screen, but I'm gonna get to that in a moment. I just want to shout out all the people that have been listening to my podcast on, all the places that you have podcasts. Thank you. And continue watching. If you don't know, I do have a podcast, so please go to Spotify. It's in the link, it's in the description. So click there and listen to, even though you have listened to it on YouTube, still listen to it on, Spotify. Support me, Spotify, Google, whatever they call it. But yeah, so I just wanted to shout that out. And yeah, so all of these stories are, they're different types of stories, but we're going to learn a lesson from each of these people with their stories. So, first one up is with Tory Lanez and Meg Stallion. Don't worry, I'm not going to go over, what happened between them. Some of our favorite YouTubers and bloggers have covered the story from start to finish. It was just this tweet or X. I don't know what they call it now because they don't have the little bird anymore. But Megan Kunith, she was is a reporter that's been covering the trial, and she tweeted some statements from Tory Lane's final statement or statement, whatever they call it. So this is what she said that Tory said. So Tory spoke for several minutes. He said he still cares about Megan. He called her someone I still care for dearly, dearly to this day. Regardless of what she may think of him, he said the victim's my friend. He talked about bonding with her over the loss of their mothers. Loss of their mothers. And of course, he was never going to, say they're not friends or talk bad about her. Because this is sentencing phase at the time. Well, he's already been sentenced. So we both lost our mothers. We would sit there and drink until we got numb, Tory Lanez said of Megan Thee Stallion. So I believe Tory Lanez lost his mother when he was younger, and Megan Thee Stallion, her the loss of her mother was probably most recently, sometime I think they said in 2019. So basically, their relationship, partnership, friendship started from what we would call trauma bonding. So something traumatic happened to them, and it was, that's it was very similar. Like they both lost their mothers. They didn't have their mothers in their life. Had a good relationship with their mother. Well, can't really say that about him. Maybe he had his mom loved him, but they both lost somebody that was their, caretaker. And this is where they form their relationship, and this is very dangerous. A lot of people, they have friendship, relationships, different situationships, because they come together on something negative, and this is where their friendship or whatever situationship, friend relationship is formed, is based upon, is built upon. So if you did not understand when the Bible says the wise man built his house upon the rock, and then the foolish man built his house upon the sand, the wise man and the foolish man, this is building. When you form relationships, situationships, partnerships with things like that, something that is not solid, you're building your relationship, you're starting to build your relationship on sand. And when the storms of life, things happen, waves and betrayals and misunderstandings happen, your relationship won't be able to stand because it was not founded upon something solid. It was never founded upon something solid. And then they also had negative coping mechanisms to cope with it. They drank. And so when they got together, they drank, and they drank until they were numb. That's a lot of drinking, to drink until you're numb. But this is how their relationship was formed upon. And many people do this. And most of the time, when you look at relationships that are formed on trauma bonding, oh, we lost our mothers, or my mom used to curse me out. She used to put hands on me. My dad did this to me. Oh, I never got along with my sister. Something negative, something. When people are forming relationships like that, most of the time, those relationships always tend to end ugly. It's never good. That's why you never form relationships like with those type of bonding where you bond in that sense, because it's like the blind leading the blind. Nobody really can help. Okay, I can understand if you did lose your mother, and then you're healed and you're able to help other people get healed. That's a different, that's a different aspect. But when you both lost your mothers, and then to cope, you drink, you're not helping each other. So that's like the blind leading the blind. So you both of your you have a boyfriend and girlfriend, and then both of them bond together. They got together because both of them used to get hands put on them by their parents, and then all they do is just share. Yeah, I remember when I was 5, and then she just came out of nowhere and just slapped me and stuff like that. All you do is telling stories, kind of open up, letting your guards down, but then nobody's really helping each other. Just opening up a womb and open up a womb. The womb is not being healed. It's not being cleaned so that it can heal. Nobody's helping each other. So that's what I wanted to point out and say, never found a relationship like this, where you're bonding over things like that, and then nobody's actually helping each other. Nobody has a solution. Okay, yeah, but she did this, my mother did this to me, my sister did this to me, this is what I went through, and this is what I did to overcome it. So if that's the those conversations are not being had, that is, most of those relationships always tend to be toxic, and they end very badly. Next topic. So I saw somebody posted this on social media, well, on Facebook. So somebody had wrote a blog, and they wrote, should a world champion boxer have a fat girlfriend? And they were talking in the sense of Terence Crawford, who is a undefeated world boxer basically, and that is his girlfriend. Some people say girlfriend, some people say wife, but okay, they have kids together, so it not sure if they married or not, but they have kids together. So many people were dragging her because she is not the standard of beauty that they push, like athletic men to have. Because these type of men have a certain type of woman that they're with. So this is how she looks. This is how they look together. So she's not, you know, of a different hue than him. And she doesn't have, like, she's not slim. She has had several kids. Some people say 2, some people say 4, some people 6. They have kids together. So they have kids together. And, she gained weight. But I believe they've been together for years. They've been together for years. And because she doesn't fit the standard of beauty that social media, the news media, and other people have for these type of men, so they were dragging her and stuff like that. And of course, you see this with the title. I mean, if the guy chose to stay with her, that means he wants to be with her. But the fact that she has the same color as him, that's a problem for a lot of people. Now, if she was of a different hue, they probably wouldn't have dragged her like that. But since, she's the same color as him, and then she is big, yeah, he does not, they don't go together, basically. They don't go together. So he should go with somebody that looks racially ambiguous, racially ambiguous, exotic. That's who he's supposed to go to. And then, when it doesn't work out, because if you're just looking for, color and how the person look, that means these relationships are not genuinely being formed, and most of the time those relationships always tend to end well. Now you could still choose, to listen to what people are saying, and then go pick him somebody, but that person probably gonna just want him for the money. I'm sure she's probably was there before he became worldwide. Everybody wants to know him, everybody wants to interview him. She probably was there. Most of the time, it's best to stay with that person. Most of the time. Sometimes not, because, the fame gets to that person's head too. But for you to, like, for instance, if you were to listen to, what social media say, and then pick what they want him to pick, or what they think that he should pick, yeah, it's not going to end well. So that's what I wanted to think. It was very interesting, just because, if she was a different color than him, even though she was black, they wouldn't have dragged her. They literally dragged the lady because, she is a little heavier set. People are weird. Anyway, so next topic. So we are going to talk about this young lady right here, and her name is Alexee, or Alex Trevizo, and she's pictured here with her alleged baby daddy. And back in January, she went to the hospital complaining of back pain. So she was complaining of back pain. If you have ever been to the hospital and you have, as a woman, you complain of any type of pain, they usually tend to ask you, if you're pregnant or you think you may be pregnant. And most of the time, sometimes, depending on what you're telling them, they, do a pregnancy test. So I believe she said no, she was not. She was not. And then, but they probably still did it anyway. And she probably was complaining of, the pain was really, really bad, excruciating pain. So I think they ended up giving her morphine. I'm not sure if the morphine, caused her to go into labor. I think she was already in labor. So maybe it, speeded up in a sense. I'm not sure. But after, waiting some time, she ran. She was already in the emergency room. Then she ran to a bathroom, and they have her on the camera, holding her behind. She right there holding her behind. She went in the bathroom and gave birth to her son. It was a boy. And whatever, I don't know, she panicked, whatever, because they said that the child was breathing, because they found air in the child's lungs. They have a way of finding those things out. And she dumped the baby in the garbage. And then I guess they were looking for her. Maybe they found out, after running tests, they found out that she was pregnant or whatever. Because even when they was interviewing her, the people was like, she was not being forthcoming and different things like that. And then when she came out, the people said that there was blood everywhere in the bathroom. Everywhere. It was like somebody came there and slaughtered. I don't know what she was doing to that child, but it was not good. And she came to find out, they started cleaning the bathroom, and cleaning the bathroom, they saw a baby in there. The baby was already purple, and some places black, I think, already lost oxygen. They had to move the plastic bag off the baby's face, so it probably got suffocated from the plastic somehow. Then they started grilling her, and she still wasn't being forthcoming. But most recently, I believe yesterday or the day before yesterday, now she's suing the hospital. Yes, The girl is suing the hospital, saying it was the hospital's fault that she lost her child. It was all their fault and stuff like that. And because they gave her morphine. Mind you, they gave her the morphine. You know, when you're pregnant, you get it, and then the baby gets no little remnants of the morphine, but it wasn't even a whole lot. It was like some type of billion number, so it wasn't even a lot to even do anything to child. So her and her lawyer, they're suing the hospital and the staff because of negligence, stating that they were the cause, even though even if so-called the morphine caused her to lose her child, did the staff tell you to put the baby in the garbage? I mean, it would have been believable, had she, um, I guess, when she went in the bathroom, that's when the baby came out, and then she ran out immediately and said, "Oh my God, look what you guys did! You killed my baby! Oh my God, I trusted you guys." If she had did that, it would have been believable. However, she did not do that. Okay, she allegedly put the baby in the trash bag, in the trash. Her son in the trash. She allegedly did this. So how is that the hospital's fault? But people nowadays, people don't. You can't hold them accountable for nothing. It's always somebody else's fault. It's never their fault. So now she's trying to get some money from the hospital, I guess, to pay her lawyer fees, because they probably want to try to battle it out. But come on, this girl has been, she has not been truthful at all from the beginning. Had she been truthful, it probably would have, well, it wouldn't have escalated to that effect. And then they probably might have even say the child, say, you didn't want your mom to know that you was doing, you know, grown adult stuff or whatever. The baby could have be given up for a job adoption or whatever. And it's the interviews of the staff, the people that had to find the baby, clean. They were so traumatized. But this girl was like, when they were asking her questions, she's like, why y'all bothering me? I don't know why y'all ask me all these questions. I mean, everybody else is traumatized. She was like, I don't know why y'all ask me this question. I told y'all this is what happened. Like, you're supposed to automatically believe what she said. Everybody else is traumatized. Even the nurse was like, she didn't even give me a chance to save the baby. She didn't give me a chance at all. But anyway, we'll see how everything turns out for Alex. I hope she, pays for what she did. But yeah, people do not want to be held accountable. They will do whatever it takes to, not to be held accountable, not to pay for not to own up to their mistakes. If you don't own up to your mistakes, you're gonna do it again. Okay, next topic. So my last topic for this video is, here we have is Karami Jawani. So back in June of 2019, they found this beautiful baby right here. Beautiful baby in the woods, actually. That's where they found the baby. In a plastic bag. Literally, the police them had to tear open the plastic bag to save the baby. So kind of similar to the first story. However, this baby survived only by God's divine intervention. That's what they say, by the miracle of God, that this baby survived. So June 19th, I think it was June 19th, I believe, or June 6th. It was June 2019. So it was teenagers. We always say teenagers, their attention span is very short because they always on social media. They never pay attention to anything. Thank God this day, these two girls was paying attention. They heard a noise. They heard a noise. It sounded like an animal, right? And then they tried to dismiss it, I guess, but it kept bothering them. And then they was like, Dad. They went to their dad and they was like, Dad, you need to check this out. We heard and we are hearing crying, like noise, crying noise. It sounds like an animal, but it you see that intuition, that's their intuition. You see the intuition I always telling you all about, not to ignore. It could save your life and even other people's life. They said, Dad, it sounds like animal, but it don't sound like animal. Look, Dad, can you go and make sure? Say they send their dad out on a mission to go listen for noise that they don't even know. Could be a fox just crying because he's stuck in some you know grass, not grass. Can't get stuck in grass, like some type of those vines. Let's say vines, and he probably crying. And the dad actually listened to them. Thank goodness, right? The dad actually listened to them and went out to go listen, to go look in what direction this noise is coming from. When the dad found the baby in a plastic bag. Found the baby in a plastic bag. They called the police, and the police got there real quick. All this time, the baby in a plastic bag. Alexee Trevizo, baby, she went to the bathroom, took the baby out. Whatever happened to the baby, and then the baby probably suffocated or whatever. But this baby was in the plastic bag, Lord knows how long. And then you see one of the police, he tearing things and say, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, saying I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And then when they took the baby out, the baby was already purple. That baby was purple. And then they did whatever they need to do, and they saved baby India. That's what the baby named. She's probably 3 or 4 now, because this happened back in 2019. How did they find the mother? So they probably took the baby's DNA and put it in the, that system, that they put the person's DNA, and if they get a match or whatever. So they probably did that to the baby. They got a match from somebody that was in jail, a guy that was in jail. They matched and saw that he was the father. And I guess, asked him questions. Then they came to this lady. The lady was married. She was a homeowner. I guess the news wanted to let you know that, it's not like she was doing real bad. And she had 3 other kids. So, and mind you, the umbilical cord was still attached. So she kept the pregnancy knowing well that she didn't want a child. And then gave birth, literally put the baby in a plastic bag and dropped the baby in the woods, and then drove off. And just like when I think the sheriff, when he was talking about it, he said, when you look at everything that was supposed to happen for this child not to make it, you can't say that was not God. Well, you could say that was no, people are still going to say it, but people say probably, oh, that baby was lucky, but that was too many factors to overcome for it to be luck, because at that time, in that, according to what the police was saying, it was supposed to storm. It was supposed to storm real bad. I think it was storming the whole week or the day before, or whatever. It's supposed to storm real bad, and it was very stormy. Like, I guess the clouds was real thing. It was supposed to pour down. The baby was in the middle of the woods, crying. Right? These people heard this noise. It sounded like animals. But then it bothered them so much, they can't be animals. So they went to investigate. They sent their dad to investigate. He actually listened to teenagers. Sometimes adults, we don't listen to teenagers. But he actually listened and then said, this child's like, that's too many factors to say that's luck. It's too many factors to overcome. So, and when you also look at this story, some people might say, I mean, why did this child get to live? Why God didn't intervene, like how he intervened with in baby India, why he didn't intervene with, the Alexee Trevizo child. But when you look at the story, remember, it bothered the people and they didn't ignore it. That is God's intervention. You got to do something. Nope. It's not an animal. It's something else. It's a baby. It gnawed at them. Sometimes, we also, I don't know, we have this thinking of how God intervenes in certain stuff, and not knowing that God can God have different ways he can intervene. He can intervene in a big way, he can intervene in a small way. And sometimes God needs people to do that intervention. So maybe we never know. Uh, 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 um, Something was gnawing at one of the nurses. You need to go check on this girl right now. You need to check on this girl, and they probably was caught up doing certain stuff, and then but they eventually did go and knock and look where she was, and found out that whatever she had did. So it's not that this baby India is more special than any other child. Is that when God intervened and place uh uneasy feeling in these young ladies, and then the father listened, this baby was able to be saved to do whatever God has placed her on this earth to do, you know. So that's why I wanted to look at both of these stories, though both though similar but different, and then had different endings. And baby India is alive today because somebody did not ignore, these young ladies did not ignore the intuition, and then their father listened to them and actually went in the woods, looking, looking, and just listening to a sound that sounded like animal, but then ended up being a child. So that's all I'd say about this. But don't ignore your intuition. Take accountability when you do something. Take accountability. It's not easy. Trust me. Taking accountability is not easy. But when trying to avoid accountability, that's not easy either. And then that has way worse consequences than actually taking accountability. And then stop forming relationships and friendships from trauma that you have not healed from. Okay? Don't do that. And what do I have to say about that story? Okay, stay out of people relationship business. If the man want to stay with the lady, let him stay with the lady. Okay? Just because she doesn't fit your standard of beauty, leave that woman alone. That's all I have to say about the situation. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another one. Bye.